Martin Van Buren was the 8th President of America, whose presidency was dogged by an economic depression that led to bank failure and food riots known as the Panic of 1837. Martin Van Buren was born on December 5, 1782, in Kinderhook, New York. He is the only president of Dutch ancestry, and Martin Van Buren and his wife spoke Dutch at home. Van Buren was a third cousin twice removed to Theodore Roosevelt. He died on July 24, 1862, in New York. The career of Martin Van Buren included the roles of lawyer, politician, and statesman. He became the 8th President of America in 1837 and served for 4 years until 1841. Van Buren made 3 unsuccessful bids for re-election. Martin Van Buren married Hannah Hose, who was his childhood sweetheart and distant relative. All of their ancestors came from the small Dutch community of Kinderhook. He became known by the nickname Old Kinderhook. People said, "Is it okay?" referring to the initials of his nickname, and the word okay was derived. Martin Van Buren and his wife Hannah had 4 children. Their names were Abraham, John, Martin, and Smith. Martin Van Buren belonged to the Democrat political party, of which he was one of the founders. He was 54 years old when he was inaugurated as the 8th president. Richard Johnson stood as the vice president. Martin Van Buren was a slim man, standing at 5 feet 6 inches, and was unkindly described as a little squirt. His favorite foods were oysters, donuts, raisins, figs, and meat. He had large mutton chop sideburns, which were fashionable during this era. The family owned 2 tiger cubs as pets. He was the first president born an American citizen, as his predecessors were born as British subjects before the Declaration of Independence. During his lifetime, he played a key role in major events of the era. Martin Van Buren was president in 1838 when more than 15,000 Cherokee Indians were forced to march from Georgia to Oklahoma Indian Territory. Approximately 4,000 died from starvation and disease along the Trail of Tears. During his life, Martin Van Buren suffered from frequent colds, indigestion, dyspepsia, gout, and asthma. Gout is a disease that is caused by excess buildup of uric acids in the joints. Gout was a major health concern in the 1800s and primarily brought on by high-fat diets and consuming too much meat. It was dubbed the disease of kings, or rich man's disease. Martin Van Buren died of asthmatic suffocation on July 24, 1862, in New York. He had become weak and largely bedbound, and on July 21st he became comatose and died 3 days later at the age of 79. He was buried in Kinderhook Cemetery, New York. So ends our short biography about the life and presidency of Martin Van Buren, whose term in office was dogged by an economic depression that led to bank failures and food riots known as the Panic of 1837. The next U.S. president was William Harrison.